On the note about authenticity, there's also a balance, right? Because sometimes you kind of want to appear and appease people, not in the way of like social influence, but in the sense of being adab for other people.
Okay, right.
That sometimes you change a little bit of yourself to give the person what they're doing.
Right.
And on the other side, you have to be authentic to who you are.
Sure.
Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, great question. I think, we have to understand that at some level these are two separate things. At some level there's no dichotomy between the two. As human beings, we're charged by Allah, and the Prophet ﷺ came to teach us also like human interaction, how to deal with people in an authentic way. I was only sent to complete human character, beautiful, exquisite human behavior. That's what he was training the Sahaba to take. Now that doesn't mean it's severed from that link to the celestial, our link back to the divine. Naturally, with different people, there are going to be different ways of expressing yourself. If somebody, I give an example. Typically at home, you'll have your own, your own lingo with your family. You'll have certain words and certain references and influences. You're not going to do that in a public event. You're not going to do that in a job interview. But adab, the beautiful thing about adab, and this is why I'm also cautious about translating adab as etiquette, because etiquette is like this kind of relic from Victorian England. I was saying before, it's, God forbid you choose the dessert spoon for the cheese, because you'd be like, Now, that's not what adab is, at least what I've experienced. Adab is doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, with the right person, for the sake of Allah. So it's inherently nuanced, it's subtle, and that's why the most refined people are those with the highest levels of adab, because it's not like, painting everyone with the same brush. They say, al-adab bayn al-ahbab tark al-adab. Like, adab amongst people you love and the friendship is actually to leave adab. Why? Because then it's, ironically not adab anymore. It's no longer good manners. It's like this false pretense. It's kind of like weird, imagine if you just, one day you said to your spouse, it's like, Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi. It's like, could I please offer you, what are you doing? It's just awkward. But if you were in front of somebody that you respected, maybe a particular person you were inspired by, a source of inspiration, then that would move your heart, and that's still authentic. You're not changing who you are. The Arabs say, لِكُلِّ مَقَامٍ مَقَالٍ. In every instant, in every moment, every situation, it has its appropriate address. And I think a lot of the time, like as modern people, it's like a reductionalist. We don't really know how to be. When I noticed this on the plane from Yemen to Abu Dhabi before they closed it down. They don't do that anymore. But you'd have all these old khalas, like these old Yemeni aunties. And my boys at the time, they were like 2 and 3, and they were just causing havoc on the aeroplane. They were like running up and down and charging down the aisle. And the Yemeni and the stewards are not the same as any other kind of, they're just kind of whatever, just, just strap your belt in if you could be bothered before landing. They're like, cool. So they were just running up and down. But all the khalas, they were like, yeah, marhaba. And they're like, it's like the family. And they were like grabbing them, playing them, squeezing their cheeks. When I went on the first trip back with the boys to England, I don't know. I mean, it's not everyone is like this, but it's a complete generalization, stereotype. It's something I found to be, unfortunately, quite true. Like you'll see, like people that maybe they're like awkward around kids, like and they almost like won't say anything. And it's kind of like it's just like a kid being a kid. And even, unfortunately, even as mothers and fathers, like there's this kind of expectation, like, no, Harry, you can't do that. That's not appropriate. Why? don't put your paradigm on like a miskeen 3-year-old. He's having a good time still. And obviously everything has its boundaries, but a lot of the time, like, we're placing boundaries of like a 30, 40-year-old, 50-year-old with like a whole world of experience. And this poor little bloke is just kind of like trying to, like, I don't know, maybe even impress you. That's the thing, So there's a different, way of expressing ourselves for different times and with different people. And I think connecting with that source, with that root, really helps. We learn how to be in different contexts with different people. We're not awkward, and that's authentic, that's real. And as long as your intention is there, like, sometimes, we've had a bad day. I don't feel like smiling. If you smile at someone in Manchester, they think there's something wrong with you. If you say hi to them, it's so silly. In Yemen, like, you say hi to people you don't know. Assalamu alaikum. Salam, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ya hayyabakum, ahlan wa sahlan. Kayfakum bikhair, al-awlad bikhair, ahlan bikhair. The Arabs have this whole, like, endless thing of, how are you, how's the family, how's the kids, how's the grandkids. I'm only 32, but it's like this kind of like endless, but it's beautiful. Like, how's the household, how's the decor, how's the light fittings, how's the poster on the wall. It's like, guys, seriously, I've got somewhere else I've got to be going. But the mashallah, bismillah, we have a delivery, bang on time, alhamdulillah. But the essence is from a beautiful place. They're genuinely interested, and there's adab there, So they'll say salams to you. And I remember when I came back to Manchester after like about a year and a half of just being positively indoctrinated, not forced, but just like take it. This just works and makes you feel good, And that's you taste the meaning of smiling in the face of your brother or your sister. It's a sadaqah. Of course it is. We don't need to be preached to. Just smile at me and it can change my entire day. You do that in Manchester, and unfortunately, a lot of people, they're like, and it's almost like do you want a fight? Like, that's the response. That's the most positive greeting you'll get in many parts of Manchester. But we need to spread this. That's what being authentic is about. And there's nothing about like smiling, even if you've had a bad day, for a good cause. Because maybe the person smiles back at you, and maybe that changes your day. Or even if it doesn't, at least you've been a source of spreading goodness, in spite of your own experience. My main mentor, if you like, somebody that, as I said, I benefited from a huge amount. Teacher is too light a word. I don't know how to describe him. In many ways, like a father figure, if I'm really honest. But like his own life story, his own father was a prominent educator and instructor right in the height of communism in Yemen, and he was kidnapped, tortured, and killed. Then they came for him, like his son, my teacher. Now, there are always anomalies and there are always great stories of success, and that's across the board. It happens all over. But normally, like where I'm from, you'll have somebody that would be the person spend a lifetime in rehab. That would be a cause for some kind of like serious therapy, and for them to achieve anything is a real struggle. Just to survive, just to exist, is a great accolade for somebody that's been through that kind of trauma. But one of the great things is I've never once heard him like complain. Never, not once. And that's a lesson that I, as this kind of Mancunian who like we complain all the time. It was a great lesson, and that's what authenticity means, because it's rooted in a sincere source. It's rooted in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's no dichotomy between the two. I hope that answers the question. Forgive me. Tangent man strikes again.